Heard Electric Motor Division, General Motors Corporation, MI 926 Vision C, Lube Oil Filtration. Introduction: proper lubricating oil filtration essential to the engine life, efficiency, reliable the operation, fully realized important for the adequate filter maintenance. It is helpful to understand full flow. A lube oil system briefly described below. For the engine and locomotive service manuals for complete system information. Scavenging oil pump that draws oil out of the engine. Oil pump something with the suction stream of the oil is pumped under the pressure through the main lube oil filter of the oil cooler before returning to the straining housing located at the front of the engine. Main oil with the piston cooling oil pumps draw with the supply of the filtered cooled lube oil to lubricate the engine. In addition, with the turbocharger equipment, lubricating oil with the turbocharger for the main oil pump passes through the turbocharger filter prior to delivery with the turbocharger full flow filterization ensures all of the lubricating oil is filtered is supplied with the engine bypass valve provided with the filter tank cover with the will and open and bypass lube oil around the filter elements during the condition of cold oil start. When the filter elements are plugged, filter bypass valve with the ensure the adequate lube oil of the engine prevents the excess of the scavenging oil pump outlet pressures. The valve open at differential pressures above 30 psi. Note, if the main lube oil filter is operated with a plug condition with a too long, it's likely that the turbo filter will plug in time and cause low oil pressure shutdown. Proper filter elements correctly installed with the maintained with will ensuring against bypass during normal operation. Description: basically, two types of lubricating oil filters are similar with a single tank multiple element models figure 1, 2 element multiple tank models figure 2. With the main variation, 2 basic assembled exists. Uses dependent upon the application. See applicable parts catalog. Replace filter elements figure 3. Remove contaminant impurity of the oil flows through with the filtering media of the cartridge type element with the components of the outer perforated shell surrounding with a pleated cotton paper filter material of the perforated metal with the center tube with the end cap for the cageless waste elements remain available for the older locomotives uses only. See filter elements characteristics. Single tank filter internally manifold southern element filter housing effective with February 1977. Internally manifold southern element filter housing figure 1 replace the earlier standard device design and southern element filter on production equipment. See server the data replacement part numbers. Internal manifold concept result of the standpipe effect with retained 75% of the oil filter tank during the normal shutdown. Oil is prevented with the draining back with the scavenging pumped into the strainer box through use of improved positive sealing valve located in the strainer box. Therefore, the strainer pressure oiling is virtually immediate. A hinge cover closed with the open end of the tank is held tightly with the cover hold down nuts, which should be torqued to 50 to 60 foot-pounds and 3/4 inch sight glass is provided. And to cover the visual, check the lube oil with the filter tank with a governed certain procedure for the prior to the engine start. See applicable engine maintenance operational manual starting procedure with the 1/4 inch male quick disconnect pressure fitting with the monitoring with the filter pressure drops is located with the cover near the site with the glass to prevent oil leakage during the operation of the gasket. You give the between with the cover and the rim of the tank flange inlet with the outlet connection located side to side with the lower end of the tank opposite with the cover to be covered with the new inlet location bypass valve that have been positioned on the top of the filter provide with the improved accessibility with the periodic maintenance of the filter drain connection is positioned in the bottom of some insulation separate drain with a line with the not shown extent of the filter of the valve with the engine mounted straining housing. Internally, with the filter is compartmentalized by false bottom of a separate plate located with approximately 12 inches with the end of the plate. The filter with the divided the element section will provide the unfiltered oil with the discharge compartment with the retrieve of the filtered oil. Picture oil diagram. Figure 4 show with the lube oil filter flow pattern described below with the cross section shown figure 5 with the oil pump with the strain with the box with the scavenging pump with the internal inlet manifold standpipe where it contains with the top mounted inlet manifold oil passes through the opening circulates through with the pleated with the cotton paper media with the filter elements of the filter oil flows through the center of the elements and standpipes to the discharge compartment outlet where it's directed into the oil cooler. Figure 4 pictorial lube oil filter flow pattern. Figure 5, internal manifold 7 element filter simplified cross section replacing standard 7 element tank with the internal manifold 7 element tank. Internal manifold of the tank with the interchangeable with the older design 7 element tank without with the new location with the inlet minor change with the inlet piping and scavenging pump with the tank inlet is required with the 4 element filters. 4 element filter figure 6 basically same as the 7 element figures. 7 element filters except with the 4 element design does not employ the internal manifold standby. The design with it does not necessarily be covered with a shorter fill time with the due to the lower capacity due to the smaller 4 element tank. The result startup oiling very small, similar to that of the 7 element tank achieved without the need with the internal manifold of the oil enter the element compartment through the inlet oil Inlet hole passes through the place of the cotton paper filter with the elements flowing down with the center of each of the element in the discharge compartment of the bypass valve with the provided with the permit with the oil circulation event with the cold oil and their plug filter elements. The oil pressure exceeds 30 psi. D with the valve opens, the oil flows directly with the element compartment to the discharge of the compartment. Filter element characteristics of pleated cotton paper. The filter element made up of the pleated with the filter paper with the metal certain tube with the end caps of the paper outlet jacket. Filter paper to corrugated with the maintained plate spacing with the valve with lube oil with the passing between the center of the tube with the filter paper, the metal center of the tube with the support for the inside diameter form with the filter with the paper pleats. Outer jacket or netting is bonded with the outer edge of the pleating that is maintaining spacing with the filter element. Life is primarily depending on the combination of the two factors. 1. Contaminant holding capacity, and 2. With the filter paper structural stability with a high disbursement with the lube oil with the U of the contaminant plugging in the filter of the paper is not usually a major factor with the establishing filter element life. Structural stability with the filter paper would therefore become primary factor of the governing element life of filter paper with the phenomenon that resins deteriorate in time in a hot lube oil, the rate of which of the curve of the dependent with the inherent with character of the paper media, the resin and oil temperature, because there are many possible the paper to razor resin combinations coupled with a very lube oil temperature environment deposit filter element life cannot be predicted for all filter element applications. Deterioration results in loss of the structural strength necessary to resist the pressure of the differential across the element. With the deterioration occur with the filter paper corrugations around the center tube with the starts to collapse and the pressure drop across the element. Consequently, increase with the more corrugations collapse with the more the filter of the paper gathers with the round of the center of the tube, resulting in a rapidly increasing pressure drop across the element. Within this condition, service filter paper to get extrude with the hole of the center tube that once of the filter short of the collapsing, the surface life becomes very short with the final result of the filter plug causing the oil body to bypass the filter element. Structural stability of the filter paper is affected with the presence of the water of the oil with the pressure drops accelerated with the curve of the longer filter element has been inserted, the more sensitive they are to presence of the water. Cotton waste filters, older application cageless cartridges have an tapered section of loose waste packed uniformly into a cartridge. Figure 6 shows 4-element filter with between the knit and cotton double layered inner outer sock with the both layers of the inner sock with a wire tied to the periphery of the center of the opening at the bottom of the end cap of the top. Reinforcement spring with the support of the inside of the diameter of the center tube. Oil filtration accomplished with the media penetration and holding capacity because of the inability to provide full flow filterization. Weight filter is no longer required or no longer recommended with the EMD applications. Single tank filter elements all current single tank lube oil filters supplied with pleated cotton paper elements. However, some of the older units cageless cotton waste elements, multiple tank filter elements. The 2-element multi-tank filter uses pleated cotton paper elements, multiple tank filter of the 2-element tank filters. Assembly shown in figure 2 with the 2 individual filter housing mounting with a common base, each housing containing one filter element. The base is divided to inlet and outlet manifold. The filter housing located on above openings of the manifolds, so the outside of the filter element is connected to the inlet manifold. And the center discharge portion of the element is connected with the oil outlet manifold flange pipe to each of the manifold provided with external oil line connections. Inlet bypass figure 7 operates simultaneously so the oil can bypass the filter elements with a high pressure caused by the cold oil or dirty elements or oil flowing excess of the element capacity. Figure 7 of the internal bypass relief valve with the assembly each of the individual housing provided with the removal of the cover to permit application removal of the filter elements. Cover is bolted with the housing and gasket seals are covered with the maintenance elements. Change out the filter tanking cleaning. Maintenance intervals of the lube and the oil filter should be established with elements changed prior to the bypass. For the additional the lube oil filter tank pressure mounting should be performed regularly using usual condition with a warrant flushing of the diesel engine. The lubricating system will require the replacement with a sheet applicable scheduled maintenance program of the maintenance instruction 1757. Bypass valve with the filter. Bypass valve should be removed with a clean and inspected with the intervals specified with the applicable scheduled maintenance program. A single spring with the external bypass valve figure 8 is located inside of the oil discharge compartment. Single tank type filter with the 2 elements, multi-tank filter, 3 internal bypass located at the base of the filter. Figure 7 external bypass valve after the oil has been drained with the filter. However, the filter remove the hose housing clean and remove the 4 hold down nuts for the bypass valve port cover. Remove the figure 8 with a single spring with the external bypass valve with assembly valve. Assembly the disc cover the port cover gasket. 2. Wash valve assembly. Solve with the remove the sludge and varnish. Carefully inspect the assembly for the after cleaning. If the poppet stem of the valve body guide shows where install replacement parts. 3. Test the valve spring, and by compressing it to a height of 3 5/8 of an inch pressure for the test, indicate the valve outside of those for the under specification. Install with a new spring. 4. Reinstall bypass valve with assembly with the filter. Ensure with the proper seating through the placement with the reed light guided springs. 5. Apply the new port covered gasket with the port cover shakes. Tighten the cover. Hold down nuts at 60 foot-pounds of torque using standard tightening procedure. The multi-tank internal bypass valve. 1. After draining tank, remove the hexagonal plug with a slotted tab with a screw plug, spring, and piston. 2. Cleanly inspect the parts. Check for the springs with the proper tension. Minimum length of the spring should not be less than 2 7/8 of an inch. Using a compressive load of 60 pounds with the spring do not meet the requirements of the new spring should be installed. 3. To reassemble the valves and ensure the piston closed in first. Insert the springs, apply the spring screw plug all the way to the shop. Apply the new gasket hexagonal plug, tighten it in place. Service data tank chart, standard tank design, tank internal manifold, filter elements, pleated cotton paper cage, wasteless time, bypass valve assembly, external type, pop of the valve, pop of the guide, valve spring, internal type, valve spring pressure fitting, quick kick, gas pressure test kit specifications, weight required to compress valve spring, 3 5/8, not less than 400 pounds or more. And 500 pounds. Poppet stem, where stem step should be not exceed 0.25 millimeters. On the diameter of the valve body, pilot should not exceed 525 thousand-inch bore diameter. Flushing the diesel locomotive engine. Military minus instruction 1757. Lubricating oil, domestic locomotive engine 1752. Lubricating oil for marine engine 1760. Oil for exporting locomotive engine 1761. Oil for industrial power engine 1762. Oil for drill rig engine 1763. Placement lube oil straining housing drain valves 9618. And that was Lube Oil Electric Motor Division General Motors Corporation Maintenance Instruction Lube Oil Filterization MI 926 Revision C.